Hi, everybody. Welcome. Merci vous joindre à nous aujourd'hui. I'm very excited to be able to announce our next funding that has been approved for NGen by Minister for Innovation, Science, and Industry. We'll receive $177 million, a little bit over that, over the course of the next 5 years to continue our investments in groundbreaking advanced manufacturing solutions and ecosystem development initiatives. Wanted to take this opportunity to not only to make that announcement, but also to field some questions. And if you do have any questions, please put them in the comments box. I know we have had some questions provided already. I'm going to ask our head of communications, Robbie McLeod, to help us out in asking me the questions here that you've provided. But let me just give you a little bit of background about why this funding announcement is so important and what we're intending to do with it over the course of the next 5 years. You know, NGen was established in 2018, so we've been in business for about 5 years. And over that period of time, we've invested close to $220 million in world-leading advanced manufacturing solutions. We've supported 165 projects. We have over 372 industry partners, most of them, 90% of them, small, medium-sized companies. We also have 252 academic and research partners involved in those projects. But the technology part of what we do is certainly very important. Our focus is on building world-leading advanced manufacturing solutions that can be scaled up here in Canada and commercialized around the world in a variety of industrial applications. And I think we've been very successful in doing that. You can take a look at our website for some examples of the projects that we've supported. But the technology leadership projects are not the only thing we do. We also make significant investments in ecosystem development initiatives. Some of those are projects that support the development of scale-up centers, of research demonstration centers, such as the Verschuren Center for bioprocessing at Cape Breton University, or Omnia Bio's Center for biomanufacturing at McMaster Innovation Park, just down the street from where our office is, or Flex Ion's lithium battery demonstration center in Windsor. Those are important initiatives that we fund through our tech projects. They all contribute to the ecosystem. But we also have invested in Indigenous education programs in partnership with the Martin Family Initiative. We've invested in the development of 22 advanced manufacturing clusters and technology groups across Canada, and working to connect those clusters. That's going to be an initiative that we'll continue to support over the next 5 years. We've invested to develop our transformation leadership program, and to couple that with our AMP Up program, an open source program that allows companies to access training programs, online training programs for employees and executive management development. Our transformation leadership program is something that is really unique. And it goes to really the heart of what we're trying to do, which is to build partnerships between technology companies and manufacturing companies, but really for the purpose of developing a much more competitive advanced manufacturing sector in Canada, and to grow that sector because it's so important to the Canadian economy. When we set NGen up in 2018, we conducted a survey along with Stats Canada. 6,000 manufacturers participated in that survey. And the result was, for some of the questions that we were asking around technology development or technology adoption, the result was that over 80% of companies, of manufacturers, said that they had invested in an advanced manufacturing technology at some point over the previous 3 years. The survey then asked, well, why did you do that? What were your business objectives? But the most important question and most interesting question was, did you achieve your business objectives? And over 60% of companies said no. That really that's not a problem with technology. It's a challenge of management of the technology. It's a challenge of leadership and management of manufacturing companies and of advanced manufacturing companies in particular. How do you achieve the business objectives? Let's start with the business objectives first. Let's make sure that we have the right processes in place, and then look at the types of technology solutions that could best improve those processes. And that's what our transformation leadership program is intended to do, to enhance management capabilities, and really around the business objectives, business management, and to ensure that when investments in technologies are made, that these are smart investments, that they align to the strategic objectives of manufacturers. Those are some of the ecosystem development initiatives that we're going to continue to support over the next 3 to 5 years, as well as new technology leadership projects in the field, particularly of the electric vehicle value chain, decarbonization, circular manufacturing, as well as continuing to support advanced manufacturing projects that are really world-leading solutions for some of the challenges that industry faces around the world. So that's the background. That's why we are so excited to have been awarded $177 million from the Global Innovation Cluster Program that ISED manages, as well as $7 million from the National Quantum Strategy that we'll continue to, that we will use to invest in new quantum applications in manufacturing. And that's on top of the $30 million that we've received from the Pan-Canadian AI Strategy Program as well, where we're focusing and have a call for proposals out now for projects that will enhance and accelerate the application and commercialization of AI solutions in manufacturing in Canada as well. So it's a busy time for NGen. And I should say too that we're closing off those 165 projects that we have funded over the last 5 years. It's an important part of our job to ensure that those projects are not only completed successfully, but that we continue to support their ongoing commercialization. I've told all of our project partners, NGen and our team, we like to think of ourselves as a wet t-shirt. We like to stick with you. We want to see your solutions not only commercialized around the world, but commercialized very successfully, very profitably. And I think we've achieved to date some sterling results. We have about 80 projects that are complete. We've invested about $87 million in those projects, and to date they've returned about $2.6 billion in new revenue. And from the point of view of our federal funders and federal taxpayers, that means for every dollar that we've funded in those projects, that they've returned about 4.5 times that amount, $4.50 per dollar, in terms of new tax revenue to the federal government. So not a bad return on investment. We're hoping to leverage that type of really amazing result to leverage additional funding so that we can continue to support really good projects going forward, not only from the Global Innovation Cluster funding, but from other sources of public sector and potentially private sector funding as well. So that's the broad view of our broad vision of where we want to go. We see ourselves as leading enablers of business success and transformation and advanced manufacturing. And we are dedicated to working collaboratively with all of the research groups, the technology companies, the manufacturing companies, the business services, and all of the supporting organizations in Canada's advanced manufacturing ecosystem to build a world-leading ecosystem here in Canada and become much more of a magnet for investment and for talent from around the world in this sector. So Rob, I'm going to leave it at that. I know you've already got quite a few questions here that you've been sent, and be glad to answer those. And please, if you have more questions, please add them to the comment section too.
Thanks very much, Jay. So just as we said off of the top, I think what we'll do is we'll get started with a few questions that came in before the live stream. And then just as Jay said, if there are any additional questions as we're going through here, please feel free to drop them in the chat box. We are seeing a few of those roll in right now, so we'll do our best to get around to those, and anything we're not able to address, we're happy to follow up over email. So Jay, just getting things started here, what can people expect from NGen now that the phase 2 funding has been rolled out? What are next steps?
Well, our phase two funding has been approved, and we have the funds will be available as of April 1st. Here in March, we'll be um, organizing our first call for proposals, and those the projects that we're looking for in that call for proposals will be in advanced manufacturing projects. We're looking for, again, world-leading applications, transformative projects, collaborative projects, industry-led projects, right across the board in advanced manufacturing. Continuing on the success of our phase one funding program. And we'll have about $45 million that we want to invest in advanced manufacturing projects in a number of sectors, in medical technology, biomanufacturing, and robotics, automation, in other areas of world-leading applications and solutions in advanced manufacturing. We'll continue to focus on projects that really make a difference, but that have a strategic commercial opportunity that can continue to be applied across a variety of sectors in Canadian industry. So that'll be our first call for proposals. When we, a little bit later on in the spring, probably in May or June, we'll be launching a second call for proposals, and that call will focus on the EV value chain. Very much like the EV projects we have funded over the past couple of years. They're going to be projects that focus on developing solutions that address some of the strategic innovation challenges that are standing out there in front of building a sustainable EV industry globally. So projects in everything from sustainable recycling of critical minerals through to the development of new hydrogen fuel cell technologies, new battery manufacturing technologies, the development of manufacturing processes that will allow companies to develop and scale up manufacturing capabilities for components, powertrain, and materials. Again, really looking more broadly at where the value is being created in that entire EV value chain. So that will be our second call for proposals. And then a little bit later on, late summer, early fall, we'll be launching a call for proposals that are focusing on decarbonization, circular manufacturing. We have some work to do in order to really focus on what will make a strategic difference in this sector. But there are tremendous opportunities with respect to not only carbon capture in Canada, but the regeneration of carbon in new materials. That's going to be a priority for us going forward, as well as demonstrating application solutions for net zero facilities, for the radical decarbonization of industrial processes. I think there's lots of clean tech and climate tech available. The question is, for many companies, what works? And so that our funding in that field will really focus on scaling up, on demonstrating applications in industry of many of these technologies. And again, we're looking forward to working with other funders, other investors in that sector. There's so much to be done there. We see our money as strategic seed funding that will help companies really be able to test out, to demonstrate these technologies, these decarbonization solutions in full-scale manufacturing. So I think those are that's going to be the cadence for rolling out our calls for proposals. All projects need to be complete by the end of March 2028. And we want to make sure that our project teams have as much time as it possibly can over the next 5 years to get these projects done. They're going to be important projects, very strategic for Canadian industry and strategic for Canadians as a whole.
Thanks, Jay. So now that we're gearing up for these calls for proposals, we've had a number of questions from people who are curious where they can go if they have some early stage project ideas and how they can best put together a consortium for these funding applications.
Yeah, well, our project development team, great and very expert team of people who can help proponents, possible partners in projects, define the project. They can tell you whether or not these projects are in the scope of what we're looking for. They continue to work with you in developing project ideas, making sure that project management processes are in place, identifying potential project partners to work with. And the best way to contact them is through projects@ngen.ca.
Fantastic, Jay. So off the top, one of the other items that you mentioned was the national quantum strategy. So some of our guests were wondering if you could provide a little bit more information about NGen's role in that.
Sure. A few weeks ago, Minister Champagne introduced the national quantum strategy. There is a significant amount of money, $14 million, allocated in that strategy to support global innovation clusters and their activities to support the development and commercialization of quantum applications in various sectors of the economy. The digital supercluster and NGen put a joint application in for that amount of money, and each of us were awarded $7 million. Our focus in using that or investing the $7 million will be in quantum applications in manufacturing, of course, or in advanced manufacturing, quantum computing, but also the possibility of quantum materials, quantum electronics. They're the guidance and the objectives of our quantum strategy have not been released yet, and it may take a few months to develop those and make them public. We're working right now with our funders at Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada, as well as with Digital Supercluster. But keep your eyes peeled over the next couple of months. We'll be launching a call for proposals. And again, whether that's in the development of new materials, new quantum materials, quantum electronics, or applications of quantum computing, or in the development of quantum computers themselves, I think this is going to be a very exciting area of application. And of course, the quantum applications are also very closely linked to AI applications as well. We have a call for proposals right now where we're investing in AI solutions for manufacturing, and we want to look at opportunities to develop quantum applications, quantum computing, to support some of those AI applications as well. So keep your eyes out, when we do launch the call for proposals around quantum, they'll clearly be on our website, but that we'll communicate that through our newsletter and through social media as well.
That's great, Jay. So you've identified a number of priority areas like AI and quantum and EV, and some of our guests were curious how those strategic priority areas are identified in the first place.
Well, we took a lot of time over the past year working with our board in developing a strategic plan for NGen. We wanted to be very strategic in terms of the projects that we're supporting, very focused on some of the bigger challenges facing Canadians. Clearly commercialization opportunities are a part of those. But I think, the experience over the first 5 years of NGen and the projects that we've supported, what we found is that these projects that are collaborative, and we expect all of them to be collaborative, but also projects that are developing world-leading applications, world-leading solutions for advanced manufacturing, they're not really addressing the current problems of manufacturing as much as addressing the bigger problems, the bigger challenges that face advanced manufacturing sectors around the world. And that's why EVs and that's why decarbonization have become much more of a priority in this round of funding. And yeah, they align very closely with the government's own priorities going forward, or their own policy priorities. But they're also based on a very robust pipeline of project applications that we've received over the past 3 or 4 years. In fact, we've we've received applications for funding amounting to over $600 million in projects, and many of those are in areas like advanced materials, in the EV value chain, as I was mentioning, in opportunities to decarbonize, but development of circular manufacturing processes, of regenerative materials there. And then, of course, a number of really good project opportunities in advanced manufacturing applications themselves, new automation processes, smart equipment, and robotics applications. Much more in the area of biomanufacturing and medical device manufacturing in Canada as well as applications of digitization and to advance many of the processes and modernize many of the processes right across manufacturing sectors, including, of course, a very important food processing sector, but also in other processes here in flow, and whether that's in chemicals or metals and materials, as well as in the auto sector and aerospace sector. So we didn't want to exclude all of those projects, and they're going to be very important. The first call for proposals, as I mentioned, will be in advanced manufacturing. My concern is that $177 million is a lot of money, but in terms of making strategic investments here in advanced manufacturing, we have to be very selective in the way that we make those investments. Here we are really looking for groundbreaking projects, transformative projects that address the big innovation challenges that advanced manufacturers or manufacturing sector faces, and projects that have a great deal of commercial promise, economic promise for the companies that are developing the solutions, but also for Canada here. So we're going to be very, very strategic in the way we select projects, and very selective in the projects that we're funding going forward.
Thanks, Jay. And you mentioned it off the top as well here, but in the last year, NGen has funded a number of EV projects that have spurred over $76 million in new investment. And just a couple of weeks ago, we wrapped up our Innovation and Technology Conference as well in the EV space. So we have some guests who are wondering if you could shed some light on what's to come here for NGen in the EV space.
Well, I think our EV projects and the conference that we held a couple of weeks ago really highlighted some of the big innovation challenges that that confront the sustainability of the EV industry worldwide. And it's not just in the car assembly or the vehicle assembly. Clearly, it's in the extraction and the processing of critical minerals, and in the design and the testing and the development of materials and components and powertrain for electric vehicles. It's in the new battery technology, new manufacturing processes for making batteries, but it's also in fuel cells and applications of hydrogen for electric vehicles too, and of course final assembly. So one thing that stands out across all of this is the application of advanced manufacturing technologies, and the need to develop solutions manufacturing processes that are cleaner, but also faster and cheaper, and high quality, and guarantee high quality product at the end of the day. So those are the projects that the types of projects that we have selected over the past 3 years in the EV space that we wanted to highlight. I think many of them are groundbreaking projects and really, really important projects as we go forward. But they're also going to be the types of projects that we're going to focus on over the next 5 years as well. Here we want to launch these projects as soon as possible, looking, as I said, for a call for proposals in May or June of this year. But all of these projects are really going to be focusing not on sort of on incremental innovations that could be applied necessarily to improve processes today, but they're going to be focusing on solving some of the bigger innovation challenges and testing out and demonstrating manufacturing processes that lead the way to solving some of these bigger innovation challenges facing the EV value chain here. And it's not to say that this is basic research, or this is kind of long-term applications. What we want to do is accelerate the whole innovation process, make Canada a leader in the EV value chain by accelerating our ability to scale up and demonstrate technology applications to solve some of these big innovation challenges that face the EV industry, and to do that over the next 2 or 3 years here. So that's kind of the strategy behind the EV projects that we've supported to date, and it's the type of strategy that's going to continue and will continue in terms of our selection criteria for projects in the EV space going forward. And I hope that those types of investment will leverage additional investments into our projects, and then additional investments to enable us to continue to invest in EV innovation as well.
Thanks, Jay. Just turning our sights now to the comments in the live stream. We're getting a few of those, so we'll look to answer a couple of those questions. We have one here from Rakesh, who's looking for a little bit more information about the circular manufacturing theme. So obviously, with this piece, we'll be developing a project guide, which will have all of the eligibility information included. But maybe you can provide a little bit more information about the direction that we're heading on the circular front.
Yeah, look, all of our projects need to be transformative. They need to really be world-leading applications that address the transformation of processes in this case in circular manufacturing. They need to be collaborative. They need to be applied later stage R&Ds with very significant application commercialization opportunities to be scaled up here in Canada for commercialization around the world, and we expect all of our projects to contribute something in the way of IP or training or test beds or a combination of all of that business knowledge to the ecosystem as a whole. So those are the starting, the basic strategic eligibility criteria for all of our projects, and they'll apply to not only to circular manufacturing, but to all of the other projects that we'll be funding over the next 3 to 5 years here. On the circular side of things, we know that we want to focus on circular manufacturing because of the demands from consumers and regulators and stakeholders and investors for more in terms of full life cycle management of projects or of products. I'm sorry. Here. So circular manufacturing makes a lot of sense. New business opportunities in that field are rapidly expanding here. And of course, the circularity has tremendous environmental benefits as well in terms of materials use, reduction of materials, reduction of energy use, as well as, of course, the development of new materials. I think what we will focus on is in the regenerative materials area here, and that's where we have made significant investments in biomanufacturing and biofiber, in green materials here, regenerative materials over the past 3 years. And those types of projects, I think, will continue to be a major part of what we're going to be focusing on in the future as well. In addition to opportunities to extract carbon, capture carbon from industrial processes, and then to use that carbon for regenerative materials itself. And that's why we've combined decarbonization and circular manufacturing. The types of projects and our selection criteria for these projects will be determined after a round of consultations with some leading industrial players. We want to get a firm understanding of some of the broader requirements for large emitters across country in decarbonization, but then also looking at opportunities in the circular manufacturing side to solve some of those big challenges that the larger companies, or at least the heavy emitters in Canada, are facing today. So that'll take a few months to do that type of analysis. We're going to broaden the consultations, of course, to other ecosystem partners in circular manufacturing space. Here, there are a number of really good organizations that are working in this area. We're in contact with Environment Climate Change Canada, with provincial governments that are looking at this as well. I think there are opportunities to leverage our funding to scale up that funding to support really good projects in this sector. But it'll take a little bit of time to get the guidance put together and to define the exact eligibility criteria for these circular manufacturing projects. So again, keep your eye open for the NGen website. We'll be broadcasting, communicating those the criteria for those projects in the call for proposals. But as I said, it'll likely be in the fall by the time the call for proposals occurs.
Great, thanks, Jay. So we have time for a couple of more questions. One that we have here is, looking back on the last few years, Jay, what would you classify as some of the greatest successes NGen has achieved in its first round of supercluster funding?
Well, we've had a lot of them, and I have to say that all of the projects that we've funded and the results to date really show the power of a collaborative approach, number one, but also show how important NGen funding is to take technologies and to integrate them into solutions and to prove that those solutions actually work in manufacturing. I think that's a gap in our innovation support ecosystem that NGen has filled, and I'm really proud of the economic outcomes that have been achieved to date. As of the end of December, $2.6 billion in sales, over 5,000 people, new jobs created, 26 companies created. So those macro numbers really make a big difference. And many of the projects that we've supported are, they're projects in advanced manufacturing, but they're also projects that aim to reduce emissions, to improve environmental sustainability, to improve healthcare, and to improve food security in Canada, or to improve our ability to manage supply chain risks. So there are bigger, going back to the previous question, why are we looking at some of these broader objectives? It's because the experience we've had from our project shows that the best projects are developed with a broader vision and are looking at taking on worldwide challenges that are not necessarily advanced manufacturing challenges, but where advanced manufacturing plays a vital role in developing the solutions and the products that are able to address these broader global challenges. Some of the projects that really stand out over the last 3 years, I think, are projects that have where we have proven the feasibility, and pilot projects that are now for solutions that are now being used worldwide. Digitization of food processing or of steel production, for example. Our ability to reduce the cost of computing for manufacturing by 92%. The development of new materials, here regenerative materials to negative carbon concrete, for example, or the development of biofibers and biopolymers. I think that our focus on developing or supporting the development of some of these ecosystem uh, uh, ecosystem support centers, the best way I can describe it, the demonstration, the scale up centers like Verschuren Center, Omnia Bio, or FlexIon here, it really shows how companies can come together and along with academic and research partners to develop something that really is a very important for the scale up and the testing of technologies. These aren't projects just to deliver company results. They're projects that are delivering a broader ecosystem capacity. I think those are very important as well. But all of these projects have their own stories, and I think the thing that really comes up very clearly is some projects have run into difficulty. But there's a huge amount of learning that has developed, huge body of knowledge. A lot of IP is being created here, even projects that haven't been all that successful in meeting their objectives. But at the end of the day, what really shines through is that the success of these projects depends on the people who are working there, on the commitment and the skills and leadership and the collegiality of the project teams that were working. And to me, what I'm very proud of and what really motivates me is when I get messages from project teams and updates from project teams just talking about how excited they are in being able to work on these projects. I think that makes all the difference in the world.
Great, Jay. So we'll move to one final question from the comments section here. We've got a question from Stephen who's asking, is the fund open to all industries? So open to companies from all industries? And then, Jay, if you could elaborate a little bit on the key areas that are evaluated when we're looking at these projects.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking for a long time, and now I can. This has just given me license to go on for a lot longer here. So, NGen membership is open to any company or any individual who can contribute to advanced manufacturing in Canada. And I think, as everybody knows, we don't charge a membership fee, but we do ask for information about your capabilities and how you see your organization or your individual skill sets contributing to advanced manufacturing in Canada. That's what we're all about. It's certainly not where our offices, main office is based on Ontario, but we're looking and we are supporting initiatives right across the country. In fact, a third of our projects are interprovincial projects. They are not just projects in one province or another, but involve partners from a number of different provinces here, and some actually involve international partners as well. We started off as we're now called global innovation clusters. We started off being called super clusters, and I still think we're super. But one of the reasons that we're called super clusters, or from NGen's point of view, is that we didn't want to limit ourselves to a particular technology or a particular sector of manufacturing. In fact, I think it's very important that we don't. And that's because to develop a workable solution or a transformative solution in manufacturing, you often need a combination of technologies, integrate a number of technologies to develop that solution. I often joke, machine learning is all about AI, but you also need a machine. And what we've done over the past 3 or 5 years is put together projects that integrate technologies, that combine technologies to develop. And many of these technologies are already out there, but supported also by applied research. But combining these technologies into new solutions and very important solutions that can be adopted readily by manufacturing. The other part of what we're looking for, of course, are advanced manufacturing solutions, integrating a variety of technologies, but solutions that also address problems that are common across industry. And when we're looking at many of these advanced manufacturing solutions, they're also applicable in mining or in construction, for example, or across a different variety of different sectors in manufacturing. A project to digitize process and optimize processes is as applicable in food processing as it is in chemicals or pharmaceuticals or steel manufacturing. This is, many of these applications are not limited to one particular sector of industry. So our view is very broad in terms of technology, and it's very broad in terms of manufacturing applications. And I think that's where we can prove the strength of our projects, where the real economic potential comes from in our projects, and what allows our projects to be commercialized so readily, not only here in Canada, developed in Canada for commercialization around the world. So very, very broad. I mentioned that all of our projects need to be transformative, enduring as far as contribution to the ecosystem. They need to be applied with significant commercial potential. They need to be industry-led, and they need to be collaborative in nature here. So encourage a number of companies and academic research organizations to work together to develop these new advanced manufacturing solutions there. And in terms of the application process, when we have a call for proposals, we ask for an intake of proposals. We screen the proposals to make sure that they're in the scope of what our call for proposals is all about, because we don't want to waste anybody's time. We work with the applicants to develop good project proposals, to define the projects very clearly, to look at the risks and the commercial potential of these projects, to develop project plans, and to find project partners there. And our project development team can help support that. And then the project applications go into an assessment process. The deadline for applications is clearly set here. Before that, we've organized all sorts of information meetings, collaboration events to allow companies to meet potential partners. But at the project deadline, when proposals are submitted, within 3 weeks, we'll run an assessment led by panels of independent panels of industry experts who will select the projects that we'll fund. And then upon that selection, we begin to contract the projects. All the projects need a collaboration agreement to spell out who does what, how much is going to be contributed to by the partners, how IP is going to be managed within these projects and shared within the project, how the commercialization of that IP is going to work. And when those strategies and the collaboration agreements have been concluded, then we contract the project, and that's when funding is available. And of course, we will reimburse eligible expenses. I think going forward, our average rate of reimbursement is going to be about 40% of eligible expenses, and the eligible expenses are expenses that cover labor costs, materials costs, equipment costs, software costs. They're at cost. These are not subcontracts. They're actually, and I can't stress enough the importance of real collaboration. These are organizations working together to develop a new solution in which all of the organizations in the project consortia will benefit from the IP that is developed in the project, or the solution that has developed in the project here. So they're not just typical subcontracting relationships or transactional relationships. They're actually innovative or innovation partnerships to develop new solutions. And that's how we'll judge the projects. And how we have judged the projects, I think our processes are really very robust. They've been audited several times by our federal partners, and that's the way we'll continue to judge the projects and to select the projects in the future.
Thanks very much, Jay. So I think that does it for the questions that we had here. And just a couple of notes before I hand it back over to you for some closing remarks. So A quick thank you to everyone who joined us on the live stream. For anyone who didn't have a chance to ask their questions, you can do so by contacting info@ngen.ca. As Jay mentioned, we'll be coming out with some calls for proposals in the weeks to follow. So stay tuned on social media at ngen.ca and sign up for our newsletter for the latest. So back to you, Jay, for some closing remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Rob, for hosting this, and thanks for everybody for to everybody for participating today. We're really excited about our ability to continue to support really world-leading manufacturing capabilities in Canada, and the development of those, commercialization of those around the world. Here, it's an exciting time, I think, for manufacturing and for technology companies. And we have so many capabilities in Canada on the research side and the tech side and the manufacturing side, and of course in the skills and workforce side as well. And the vision that we had right from the very beginning, and that we'll continue to have, is just think of what we could do when we can mash those together, when they come together to develop really unique world-leading applications that can, and solutions that could be used around the world in advanced manufacturing. That's what motivates us, and also our funders here as well. So it's maybe end with a big shout out to everybody at the Ministry for Innovation, Science and Economic Development, and all of the other, my colleagues at the other clusters, global innovation clusters. Here, it's really a team effort, and our ability to deliver the funding for not only for projects but for all of the ecosystem education and training and workforce development activities that everybody is supporting. It's a team effort to do this, and I think we're all motivated by the idea that, how can we leverage the great opportunities but also the great assets that we have in this country to really make a difference for Canada, and not only for economic development, but also improve healthcare, improve the environment, improve food security going forward as well. So that's what motivates us, and I've got to say at the very end, thank you to an amazing team and group of colleagues that I work with NGen. Certainly couldn't have received or got the approval for funding without their efforts, and really appreciate. It's a lot of fun to work in this organization, and as you could probably tell. And also to all of our project partners and all of the members that continue to support us. So thanks very much.